Welcome to the newsroom for Friday, July 20th, 2018, broadcasting to you on E1 and Scar TV in Georgetown and Parsi TV in Bartica. In the headlines, Minister of Business Dominic Gaskin tells the private sector to stay out of politics until political parties need their money in 2020. A nightclub owner is slapped with a drug trafficking charge. 25 Amerindian villages to benefit from E-Network's Dream TV free of cost. And in sport, Bodybuilding Federation hopeful for increased medal haul at Central American and Caribbean Games. With the news, I'm Kurt Campbell. Good evening and thank you for joining us. First up, Minister of Business Dominic Gaskin today rebuffed comments made by President of the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Deodat Indar, about political instability in the country and made it clear that the private sector should stick to its role and stay out of politics. The business minister, however, noted that the private sector should only get involved in politics when it is time for elections and their money is needed. Bibi Katoon reports.
The Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry on Friday launched its two-day business development forum at the Pegasus Hotel, geared at preparing local companies for the upcoming Guyana Trade and Investment Exhibition, GUYANESE. During his address, GCCI's President Deodat Indar pointed out that business persons are always interested in whether their venture will be secure in the long term.
Stability comes from different places, but political stability is one of them that guides investment, because it gives the investor that I will be here today, tomorrow, 10 years, 15 years out.
However, Business Minister Dominic Gaskin contended that for too long, politics has been blamed for bad business practices. He expressed the view that businesses should stay out of politics, but in the same breath said they should do so only until it is time for the country's elections, as political parties will need their funding.
So I'm not here looking for political support, because I believe that the private sector should concentrate on business and stay out of politics. At least until election season comes around, when you can decide which parties you want to support or which candidates you want to fund, because funding is, of course, a very key component of the election campaigning process. But certainly, in the off-season, you need to concentrate on doing business, and government is supportive of that.
His comments were met with some blank stares from the crowd, while others applauded. But the business minister disagreed that there is political instability in Guyana and noted that the country has been enjoying political stability for some time now. The GCCI's Business Development Forum 2018 seeks to facilitate partnerships between businesses as well as address some of the issues experienced by the business sector. Also addressing the opening ceremony was country representative of the Inter-American Development Bank, Sophie McKinnon, who pointed to the developing oil and gas sector and the need for businesses to become competitive. She pointed out that it is the business community which has a major role to play in the successfully pushing this sector to prosperity, but at the same time developing other industries. Bibi Katoon, Newsroom.
Thank you, Bibi. E-Networks, broadcasters of the newsroom, has offered its Dream TV service free to 25 far-flung Amerindian communities. Fariza Hanif reports.
Supported by the company's fiber optic network, the Dream TV service offers access to over 100 high-definition TV channels, including 3 of E-Networks' signature channels, such as E1, which provides news, current affairs, and critical public information. Vishak Prasad, managing director of E-Networks, said the company recognizes the need for information in indigenous communities and was pleased to offer the service free of cost to 25 communities, which will be determined by the National Tushaus Council. Other communities and private individuals in those communities can buy the service starting for less than $4,000 or choose other packages with more channels. Prasad explained to close to 200 Amerindian chiefs attending the annual NTC conference that E-Networks is a technology company with focus on internet service provision and cable TV service.
What this has done is given us the ability to have reach countrywide and be able to provide TV services with up to 8 channels in high definition quality to anywhere in Guyana. We specifically took the ensure that it was very energy efficient and could be used with solar and low power initiatives for communities that did not have the electricity resources.
Dream TV offers access to some of the largest content providers in the world, such as ESPN, HBO, and Disney, and local channels, including state TV. Therefore, the content provided allows for education and entertainment. He said the Dream TV service is significant to indigenous communities because it allows them to connect to the world, and the channels offered provide a range of views on diverse topics that could prove beneficial. He noted that the service serves to complement the efforts of the Public Telecommunications Ministry to provide internet to hinterland communities.
And one of the challenges that I know the Ministry of Public Telecommunications is focusing on is to connect these communities via internet. And that would be a significant boost in being able to access information and access to education. One of the fallbacks of rural connectivity is the capacity and ability to pass video. And we think our system complements our project nicely because you can use it for education, you can use it for sports, you can use it for current affairs.
Persaud pointed to the media arm of the company, which could allow communities to be able to access news in a timely manner. Further, he said the media arm of the company can also partner with communities to ensure their views are heard and that their communities benefit from a display of local opportunities.
This is the next way in which we can use that infrastructure resources that we have to partner with your community to promote economic activity and opportunity that is available, whether it's tourism, whether it's craft, whether it's agro, and feature these things both on television, on social media and internet.
eNetworks is this year celebrating its 15th anniversary and is looking to launch new products and initiatives. Fariza Hanif reporting for the newsroom.
Let's tell you now that two government ministers last evening apologized for the sufferings caused to users of the Lyndham-Letham Road, but failed to agree to measures proposed by the opposition to bring relief. Bibika Toon tells us more.
Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson on Thursday agreed that the government's plan for the maintenance of the Lyndham-Letham Road has failed.
I want to assure the persons along these regions, sir, that the contractors are mobilized. That what we will do is we'll do our best to keep the stretch, utmost best to keep the stretch operable. Obviously, we will maintain it to standard. The contractors will be there for the contract is for a year. So therefore, we envisage we wouldn't have a repercussion on of this through the May-June, not the December rains, because the contractors will be mobilized and on site.
The minister was at the time responding to Opposition Chief Whip Gail Teixeira, who brought a motion calling on the government to bring relief to the residents. Teixeira's motion sought to get the government to airlift supplies to interior residents, meet with logging and mining companies, and fix the roads while putting mechanisms in place for maintenance.
This government, I hope, Mr. Speaker, that the government will support the recommendations we have made in this motion. They are not accusatory, they are patriotic, they're nationalist in context. It is saying to the government, get your act together on behalf of all the Guyanese, regardless if they voted for you or not.
Teixeira contended that interior roads lack maintenance since 2017, but this was disputed by Junior Public Infrastructure Minister Annette Ferguson, who outlined that over $53 million was spent on the first half of 2018 alone to fix interior roads.
Just before June 2018, the Lyndham-Letham corridor, we did maintenance work in 4 areas. We did between Lyndham-Letham and, as I said before, Rockstone to Mabura, and the contractor is International Imports, and the contract sum is $12,964,000. Lyndham-Letham, Rockstone to Mabura, this is lot 3. Adam Newton Holdings, $13,485,000. Lyndham-Letham Road, JR Ranch Inc., $13,820,000. Timber Bridge, Mabura to Kurupukari Corridor. This is being done by MMC Inc. for a total sum of $1,626,000. Lethem Roadway between Wizrock and Rockstone Junction, International Imports and Supplies, $11,996,000 Guyana dollars.
The interior road works were handed over to the Ghana Geology and Mines Commission this year, and that caused the delay in maintenance. The Ghana Manufacturing and Services Association, in a statement earlier this month, lamented that the condition of the road is significantly affecting logging companies. The association said the rainy season and failure to maintain the interior roads prior led to them worsening. BB Katoon, Newsroom.
When the news of City Vibes nightclub located in All Boys Town, Georgetown, was remanded to prison today on a drug trafficking charge. The 40-year-old appeared before Chief Magistrate Anne McLennan and pleaded not guilty to the charge, with alleged that on July 17th at his nightclub he had 19.188 kilograms of cannabis in his possession for the purpose of trafficking. Barrett was represented by attorney Mark Conway, who made an application for bail on the grounds that two other persons were also arrested during the police raid at the nightclub. Police prosecutor Neville Jeffers told the court that on the day in question, ranks of the police narcotics branch found the drugs inside a cupboard in the kitchen, and that Barrett is the only person with keys to the cupboard. The businessman was remanded to prison until August 8th. Government has abandoned its plan to give indigenous village leaders a plot of land to construct a headquarters for the National Touch House Council and is instead considering other options. Davina Samaru explains.
Just when the council thought the issue was resolved, a new change in the plan has been announced. Minister of State Joseph Harmon told reporters that President David Granger has decided not to move forward with his promise to give the Sophia land to the NTC. He is instead thinking about giving the council a larger tract of land from the Ghana Sugar Corporation.
The land which had been allocated at Sophia, the president, in reviewing this, felt that the land was a very small area and would basically just take the building. And in discussions with the Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, and I believe the minister, I spoke to him this morning, has said that he is also in discussion with the new chairman of the Touch House Council, that we're looking at allocating a larger tract of land so that the headquarters of the NTC can be well set up and well organized.
A few days ago, former NTC Chairman Joel Fredericks blasted the coalition government over several broken promises, including its failure to provide a title for the promised land. Last year, President Granger undertook to provide a plot of land in the Sophia Exhibition Center to the NTC. There was even a sod turning ceremony to mark the presidential promise. But on Wednesday last, manager of the Ghana Lands and Surveys Commission, Derwin Humphrey, said a 50 years lease for that land has already been created and has been available for the longest while for the NTC to collect. The then NTC chairman, after being informed of this development on Wednesday, was expecting to collect the lease today and to start the process of construction. With a change in the plan, it is now uncertain how long it will take before the NTC gets a plot of land to construct its headquarters, which is expected to be a haven for indigenous people to find support and have issues affecting them resolved. Davina Samaru, Newsroom.
Let's tell you now that government has approved the spending of $17.3 million for Emancipation Day celebrations countrywide, Minister of State Joseph Harmon announced today. He explained that the funds will be released to the Ministry of Social Cohesion with responsibility for culture, youth and sport, as well as several African organizations. Apart from the traditional celebration in the National Park, where an array of African culture is on display, the government has a new and special activity planned. Harmon said there will be a cultural extravaganza at the Union Cultural Complex in Union, Courtine, Berbice. Emancipation Day is observed on August 1st every year in recognition of the abolition of slavery in 1834. The Environmental Protection Agency is being urged to clamp down on the haphazard burning of raw gold around the city by dealers. The call was made by the Guyana Gold Board, which is currently in cleanup mode after a mercury contamination at its Brickdam office. Davina Samaru tells us more.
The Gold Board was forced to relocate its laboratory, and at $1.2 million a month, a new facility is being rented at Crown Street, Queenstown. The building was formerly a campaign office for the APNO AFC coalition. A modern mechanism costing more than $18 million was developed to burn the gold, but the system is still being tested. As such, the Gold Board is only accepting smelted gold, so says General Manager Eondrine Thompson, who spoke with media operatives during a tour of the facility on Friday.
Smelted gold, the mercury has been burnt out of that, yes. So we burn it. Why we burn it is to ensure that it is gold, there is nothing there inside. We don't know, we will not take chances with the government resources. So when the gold comes in, we have to burn it back to ensure that we have gold there.
Sellers of sponge gold, she presumed, will go to other dealers, and this is where the situation becomes worrying.
They may go to the dealers, and I've also cautioned the EPA to take a look at down Church Street or wherever persons are burning gold, we could say willy-nilly.
The mechanism at the new Gold Board lab has been deemed internationally accepted by a team of experts who had visited to assess the mercury situation, Chairman of the board Gabriel Lal said. The new mechanism for burning gold was developed by a Canadian-based company called ACT Labs, and its general manager Kevin Gomez assured that the mercury emissions will be below admissible levels.
We have 3 recovery or checkpoints. In all 3 of those positions, mercury can be recovered. The first one would be a condensation unit where the mercury vapor passes within stainless steel tubes, and there's cold water within that water jacket, so mercury passing within the fumes are condensed and trapped in one position. Then the fume continues up to a high-speed venturi system where there's a scrub or other scrubbing system that then takes out particles and any mercury. From there it passes to the water tank, which cools the air and goes through the final checkpoint of an activated carbon checkpoint.
Minister of Natural Resources Raffle Trotman says a more long-term solution to the issue would be working with miners to reduce the use of mercury in their operations. In fact, the minister says he was recently forced to deny the importation of a huge quantity of mercury into Guyana from Mexico. Trotman says he does not have much details about the shipment, and he is currently trying to find out who the importer is and what was the intention of the mercury. Davina Samaru, Newsroom.
When the newsroom returns, regional... Welcome back. Davina Samaru now joins us with major headlines from the region and around the world.
Thank you, Kurt. We start off with news from the region. The government of Jamaica will be inviting 12 boys from a youth soccer team in Thailand and their coach, who were recently rescued from a flooded cave, to vacation in the island, all expenses paid. Minister of Tourism Edmund Barlett made the announcement yesterday and said he couldn't think of a more appropriate gesture for the brave and extraordinary young men. The 12 boys, ages 11 to 16, and their 25-year-old coach had been trapped in the cave system since June 23rd. The world was transfixed by the daring rescue of the boys from the flooded caves, which was undertaken by a team of international divers over 3 days, from July 8th to the 10th. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has reiterated his country's ongoing commitment to supporting Caribbean countries in building economic and climate resilience. According to a CMC report, the Canadian government said that Trudeau stressed that commitment in a telephone conversation the day before with newly elected Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley. In June, at the G7 Leaders Summit, Canada announced an investment of 162 million Canadian dollars to help build strong and resilient coasts and communities, including those in the Caribbean. A 25-year-old Trinidadian national, Namia Golson, has been charged and remanded to prison for importing cocaine into the United Kingdom. British customs officers discovered approximately 1.5 kilograms of the Class A drug on July 7th when the man was stopped after arriving on a flight from Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago. The drugs, which have an estimated street value of around £75,000, were found inside a suitcase. Internationally, a man armed with a knife attacked passengers on a bus in the northern German city of Lübeck, wounding several persons. The BBC reported that a suspect was arrested at the scene and taken into custody. An eyewitness told the local newspaper that a passenger had just given up his seat for an older woman when the attacker stabbed him in the chest. The local prosecutor said no motive had been ruled out, including terrorism. 17 people have died after an amphibious tugboat carrying tourists sank in stormy weather in the U.S. state of Missouri, the BBC reported. The Stone County Sheriff said all bodies have now been recovered from Thursday's accident. The vessel was carrying 31 people when it overturned on Table Rock Lake, a popular tourist attraction near the town of Branson. The captain of the amphibious boat survived, but the driver did not. And that brings us to the end of regional and international headlines. Back to you, Kurt.